Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. I find it rather telling that there are so many executives from so many financial firms out there that just get it when it comes to XRP. Forget what the toxic Bitcoin maxis say and the irrational XRP haters, the people with XRP derangement syndrome. They exist. But have you noticed that there are seemingly endless quantities of people in legacy finance that recognize, wow, XRP is actually functionally useful, and that makes it different from some other coins? My, what a novel concept. And so I recognized this when I jumped into crypto immediately in 2017, and I'm willing to bet that you guys caught on pretty quickly too once you found out about XRP. It's rare in that it's actually used for something. What a novel concept, right? And so I want to share with you an example of an executive, in this case, a president of a firm that sells precious metals, a lot of gold specifically, and he just gets it. And this is fascinating because, a lot of times the gold bugs out there, if you will, like the Peter Schiff types, if they're not in the crypto market, they will just crap all over it. Like Peter Schiff, maybe he really believes what he's saying about how the crypto asset class is all going to zero, which is just a complete absurdity in 2024. It's hard to take him seriously on that. I think he's right about all sorts of stuff, but that's not one of them, all right? And so, I understand that he has a financial interest in just pushing his gold, and if there are people investing in other things, that's not good for his gold selling business. I got that. But that makes this extra interesting. Here's a guy selling precious metals, and so if people are putting more money into crypto, even if just as a store of value, well, that's what gold's supposed to be for, right? Largely. So, that would harm his business, but he's still intellectually honest with the crowd and says, yeah, XRP makes a ton of sense. In fact, he went so far as to say, and here's part of his quote, I'll share the rest as we get into the video, but he said, XRP offers amazing potential because it's going to be integrated into the system, end quote. And oh yes, it is. In fact, it literally already is. It's just going to expand. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, so what we're talking about here is a gentleman named Andy Schechtman. He's the president and owner of Miles Franklin, which I wasn't familiar with, not that it necessarily matters, but here's their website right here. You can see they, it's just all about precious metals investments. That's what they specialize in here, not crypto. And so here's a headline from Coinpedia. XRP News, gold advocate backs Ripple, says it will skyrocket after SEC nonsense is cleared. Andy Schechtman, the president and owner of Miles Franklin, was recently asked about the best cryptocurrency option for diversification. While he primarily focuses on gold, he was asked about several options like Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and Chainlink. However, he said that XRP stands out due to its unique structure and existing partnerships. Folks, think about that. And it's like, I know I'm probably preaching to the choir here, and I certainly agree. XRP is more important and functionally useful than Bitcoin. To me, that's not even an opinion. That's a fact. That's a matter-of-fact statement. It is true, and look, I still hold Bitcoin. I'm fond of it. It's got that staying power because it's the first mover. I've been holding Bitcoin since 2017. But technologically, it is the worst cryptocurrency in existence, and that's because it was the first. It is slow as hell. It's costly to move. It can only be so useful. You need to build or use layer 2s on top of it if you want to actually use it for payments, so on and so forth, which you can do. That's fine. But if you're talking layer 1, it's garbage. It is, technologically speaking, it's garbage by today's standards. And so then you have something like XRP that actually performs like Satoshi Nakamoto envisioned Bitcoin should, as a peer-to-peer cash system with real-time settlement. It is effectively 3 to 5 second pass, 35 seconds pass per ledger, right? And transactions so cheap, it's the fraction of a penny, so cheap it might as well be free. So it can do what Bitcoin was designed to do initially, but can't do, which is pretty cool here. And so now it's implemented by implemented enterprise-grade software. Now, what they were focusing on largely here is what Ripple's doing with XRP. And, we shouldn't, and I don't, count solely on Ripple to result in XRP having long-term viability. And separate from that, very clearly what Ripple does, it's not impacting the price of XRP. It just isn't. Any great news about XRP they've had for over a decade now, it just hasn't moved the price of XRP. It just doesn't. But I do think Ripple's an important player in the XRP ecosystem. I think that's very fair and unquestionably true here. But thankfully, XRP is used by all sorts of other firms for all sorts of other reasons. And we found out about a bunch of them thanks to the SEC v. Ripple case, because a lot of them filed amicus briefs. Like TapJets, for example, they come to mind. And then there was Spin the Bits, which uses the XRP and the XRP ledger to move Bitcoin, since with its clunky layer 1, it can't. So there's just a couple examples off the top of my head there. So clearly XRP is here to stay at this point. I just, anybody who's going to just come at this with a level head, especially becoming unbiased, I don't know how you can't come to that conclusion here. That's the direction it's going. There's no hints that there's any sort of cracks on the surface or anything of the sort. It just works. It just is. And so I think XRP is supremely undervalued, but I think markets eventually figure this stuff out. And so it's just nice to see professionals like this recognizing what we already know to be true. And the good news is most people don't know that or don't agree. And that's good, because if you want to invest in something that might result in life-changing wealth, if everybody already agrees, that means you're too late. So we are definitely on the cutting edge here. Even though XRP has existed for over a decade, it just takes time. And it's taking time not just because of XRP, but it's a nascent asset class, the entire crypto asset class. So yeah, it's been taking some time, but it keeps going ultimately in the right direction in terms of adoption. Price be damned. I think it ultimately catches up. But if you look at everything else, it's consistently gone in the right direction for over a decade. Doesn't that matter? I say yes. The president of this firm clearly agrees. The piece continues. Sheckman hinted at XRP's efficiency as a reason it could be a preferred choice for financial transactions, all while operating within the rules set by organizations like the Bank for International Settlements, or BIS for short. In an interview with the Paul Barron Network, he admitted to owning a small amount of Bitcoin, mainly to avoid the regret of not having it. Despite being a hard asset enthusiast, he recognizes the potential of XRP. And so this is the video that they were referencing. This is the Paul Barron Network, very popular channel. I'm sure that many of you are familiar. 664,000 subscribers. And so I just paused it on a frame here where Paul Barron is showing Ripple's connections with various countries, so on and so forth. We've seen all sorts of stuff like that over the years. But it's still nice to see that being discussed. And, the XRP ledger and adoption and use cases, it goes far beyond this, but very frequently, and it's fine. Ripple's the most famous player as far as developer activity in the XRP ecosystem. They're the most famous, fair enough. But there are a lot of other stuff. The cool thing is, I would argue, for any cryptocurrency, as long as it's functionally adopted and useful for one use case, if it's widely adopted, good luck supplanting that. Even if there were only one use case, even if it were only Ripple, that would be enough. If it's widely adopted, and you have to get to that point, and I do think that, they probably had a threshold where it's pretty clear that it's just going to keep going in this direction. Even that would be enough to sustain the long-term viability of XRP and the XRP ledger. But that's the cool thing. There's so many other firms doing so many other things with XRP. And all that does, every single one of the developers and participants in the ecosystem, they help to ensure that long-term viability. Ripple does, Spin the Bits does, TapJets, anybody using this and developing on top of the XRP ledger. So, I don't mind them explicitly talking about Ripple, which is what they're doing, and they're talking about the XRP further being integrated in the financial system, but it already is. It's every single day being used as a bridge currency. It's already in the legacy financial system. It already happened. So talking about the expansion, that sure makes sense. I just wanted to be clear that even though they're focusing on what Ripple's doing here, this is so much bigger than that. That's why to me it just seems like XRP is the biggest obvious slam dunk, and I understand the market has to catch up to figure that out. But my personal belief is that the market will. So you're not crazy if you believe similar things to what I believe on this topic, right? But I want to share with you the quote now from Andy Sheckman. He says, I own a little bit of Bitcoin only because I didn't want to say, why didn't I own it? And I've been thinking about this stuff for so very long. But I am a hard asset guy, to your point, and it's hard for me to let my mind go to a place where I can't hold it. But I do really, really recognize the potential in XRP. And looking at the way that it's constructed and looked at the contracts that have already been signed and looking at that flow chart that you just showed, which by the way, let's pause note, that's what he's referencing, what's on the screen there. And then he says, it's unquestionable that once all this nonsense with the SEC is behind them, in my opinion, it offers amazing potential because it's going to be integrated into the system. So I'll pause there. He may not be keeping up with the SEC v. Ripple case to the degree that I am and many of you are, so he may not realize that XRP is already in the clear. There's some legal happenings with the appeal with Ripple, but we're in the clear. Ripple's business model, even that's in the clear. There's just like a tiny question mark, I guess you could say, as to, is XRP ever going to get to be used in corridors touching the United States? But it functionally doesn't matter. XRP is used as a bridge currency in every other nation, as long as there's not any sort of, regulatory reason to not. And so I think that he may not know about that, and that's fine. I understand that he's, probably not some, daily active XRP community member, and that's fine. But he is correct about the rest of this, broadly speaking, and he does recognize this, and it's just neat to see this is coming from a thoughtful, intelligent individual who, if anything, has every reason to yell against crypto like Peter Schiff does, but he's not here. He's just recognizing reality, which again I appreciate. And then he says, it would be the one that I would probably say offers the best potential, at least from an expansion of the system that already is showing you that it is. I guess just about in every sense of the word is already integrated into their plans. Yep, golf clap for that one. Absolutely, spot on. And you can say stuff like this about almost 0% of cryptocurrencies that exist. XRP could not be more obvious. It's in plain sight. It's in the top 10 coins by market cap. It's one of the first coins that anybody should look at, unless they're being ridiculous and focusing on micro caps and meme coins and stuff like that. But if you're a serious investor and you want to expand into crypto, then you're going to look at the large caps, because that's the market telling you, hey, we think these ones make the most sense. So you would quickly come across XRP, as I did in 2017. So it's here to stay, folks. Price again, like I said, price action be damned. The market's going to straighten that out. I don't really have a question about that. I can't technically know for sure. Of course not. Nobody can. But I have a very high level of conviction, and I believe for very good reason here. If you think anything of the sort, or even some of what I said is true, just know that you're not the only one. You ain't crazy. All sorts of intelligent people out there with successful careers and all sorts of backgrounds think, yes, this makes sense, which is why it just keeps getting adopted and development activity and everything. It's all going in the right direction. Price catches up. And so markets, when there's something that's undervalued, markets do figure that out eventually. So anyway, I just wanted to share this with you because it's another example. It's a cool story. I just wanted to share some general thoughts on this. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because if anything I say are right, that would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.